moving a little bit away from roads to now agriculture. In my constituency, Madam Speaker, if you look at the crop situation, in the past, we were relying on cassava. As you may recall, along the shores of Lake Malawi, all along, we have been actually depending on the cassava being our staple food. But now the climate has changed. We are no longer relying or depending on the cassava. Maize is all over. Now, in my constituency, Madam Speaker, the situation is quite dire. And the ADMAC is not functioning. The ADMAC depots that we had, they are closed down. And the people, they're in dire need of maize and where they can go and buy maize. Unfortunately, in my constituency, people would travel to Kalonga to buy maize. Rumpi district, which is a 90-kilometer distance to buy maize. But why are we subjected to this condition when in the past we had ADMAC depots within the constituency that people could just walk over and do that? Like places like Chiweta had a depot, Jalawe had a depot, Zoo had a depot, Mlowe had a depot, Chombe had a depot, Chitimba had a depot, Charo too had a depot. Now, these depots, they are no longer functioning, and it is my humble appeal to the Minister of Agriculture to work out a plan so that we can rescue these people who are in dire need of maize and rescue them from a possible doom. Madam Speaker.
Member for Rumpi East, you've actually exceeded your 10 minutes.
Much obliged. I'm now about to wind up, Madam Speaker. The budget itself is about 8 trillion. A national debt is 16 point something, as per the Minister of Finance, that told us that by 24 September last year, the national budget was 16 trillion. Now our national budget is 80 trillion. You can see the reconciliation there that is lacking. Are we indeed having a national budget with the national debt 16 trillion and the national debt 80 trillion? I don't
few remarks, Honorable.
That we have that budget. Anyway, Madam Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to see much more, but because my time has been eaten up, of which I appreciate by you listening, I therefore would like to say, Minister of Finance, please listen to my appeal. Thank you once again, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Rumpi East, Blantyre City, South. Is it Southeast? Eh?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, it is Blantyre City Southeast. Madam Speaker, commenting on the budget, first of all, I wanted to thank the Minister for presenting his last budget. Madam Speaker, the budget that we have been presented with does not speak to the current situation that the country is going through. Madam Speaker, looking at the state of our country and the economy, one would expect government to be saving or putting in place cost-saving measures, which I'm failing to see in this budget. As I speak, our government is almost broke. It's a fact. Shortage of food in the country, shortage of medicine in our hospitals, high prices of essential commodities that we need day in, day out. We can't even fix our own roads. I've seen for the first time we are patching our potholes with doti. Very embarrassing. I don't know where government is taking those ideas from. We have forex problems. And as I said, this is the time that we should be saving as a country, so that whatever we save should go towards making our people's lives better. But now, Speaker, I have two issues. I wanted the Minister of Finance to take note. For the past 4 years, Madam Speaker, government has been collecting 15,000 kwachas from our smallholder farmers. If you total up for the last 4 years alone, it is over 1 trillion kwacha. I wanted to know from the Minister of Finance where this money is going, because it is not showing anywhere. It is a farmer's contribution. Before they are given fertilizer, they contribute 15,000 kwacha per bag, and also the ones that get goats, they do make a contribution. We just wanted to know, the people of Blantyre City Southeast, where is this money going? Because this should have been a startup for us. It's in cash. We just want to know where this money is going. Madam Speaker, secondly, I'm disturbed with 2 votes. I have vote for the OPC, which is 12 billion. State House, 67.3 billion. Madam Speaker, 67.3 billion translates to 5 billion 608 million 333 per month. Madam Speaker, it also translates to 186 million 944,444 kwacha per day. If you do the maths, Madam Speaker, State House is taking 42 million 62,693 kwacha taxpayers' money per hour. I will repeat, 42 million 62,693 kwacha per hour. Madam Speaker, it also translates to 702,000 kwacha per second. You can do your maths. It's in front of you. 702,000 Malawi kwacha as your clock ticks. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Every second, Madam Speaker, 702,000 kwacha taxpayers' money is being eaten by State House. Madam Speaker, I have just 2 questions. Is our country that rich? No. Do we have that money that we can give to our president? 702,000 per second? 67 billion kwacha, Madam Speaker? I think we need to answer that question. As leaders, is our country rich enough to sustain this? I thought as leadership, they should have taken lead in showing the people of Malawi that yes, we are feeling the pinch with you. We are feeling the pain with you. As your president, as I've always said, as a servant leadership, I will reduce my... We did it in DPP, Madam Speaker. ministers were getting half salaries. None of them there can volunteer to even get his salary deducted. They are busy chewing people, taxpayers' money, but they cannot plan austerity measures, Madam Speaker. My last question, Madam Speaker.
Minister of Higher Education, you are rising on a point of order. Honourable Member for Blantyre City South, you have a point of order on the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to find out if it's in order for the Speaker who's just resumed his seat to delve into explanations that say they want explanations on money when, number one, when this budget was being delivered, it was made very clear that on the night that Dr. Chakwera was assuming power, the side of the very person speaking transferred money out of this country. They have never explained where this money is. I think it's they don't have the moral authority until they explain where they took that money. Let's be serious. This is taxpayers' money. The question is, let us know. You borrowed money from Afrexim Bank, DPP, and you said you are going to fix Kia, Kamuzu International Airport. Dr. Chakwera has come in and cleaned up the mess you left. Now you are saying you want explanations. So before he can speak, can they tell us where the money that was moved during when Dr. Chakwera was taking power, where is that money? Before tell us, where is that money? Otherwise, you are risking arrest. We want to know, where is our money as Malawians? Number one. Number two, we have spent money paying back the bills they left in health, in education.
Honorable Minister.
They mustn't sit here.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Honorable Member for Blantyre City Southwest. You have the floor.
Yeah. Madam Speaker, I was about to finish my statement, but let me respond. Madam Speaker, the likes of this honorable minister are the ones that have made President Chakwera's name go down in mud. First of all, let me school her, Madam Speaker, that a point of order is 1 minute. She's not an MP. She cannot come in here and tell me what to do. I am in charge. I am in charge here. And Madam Speaker, politics to please the president have not helped Malawi. They will not help Malawi. As I was concluding.
Member for Blantyre City South.
Yes.
The honorable member and the minister is got the right to respond. She's a cabinet minister, so she can respond on the floor. So she's responding in her capacity as the honorable minister. Please. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I want you to rule on what she said. She said, I face an arrest. In her statement, you can rewind it. It's unanswered. She said, I face an arrest. I want her to explain what arrest is she talking about and who will she be arresting me as. I want to know. I don't take threats lightly, Madam Speaker. You can go to the Hansard. I want her to explain what wrong I have done to face an arrest coming from the honorable minister. My life is in danger, Madam Speaker. I want her to explain what wrong I have committed by responding to the budget as people of Blantyre City Southeast. I represent, she does not represent a constituency. She represents her maid at home and her kids. She does not represent a constituency. I am talking on behalf of my constituency, and I want her to explain, Madam Speaker, rule on this. She said it live, it's recorded, that I face an arrest. Please, Madam Speaker, I need an explanation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Blantyre City Southeast, Honorable Minister, the claims by the Honorable Member that you said he is going to be arrested.
If I can be allowed to respond, I know that coming from that side, understanding diction is a challenge. So you want to take me to school? Let me educate you. What I said, and you can replay, I said, this is what the DPP does, and your side faces arrest if you do not explain. And I want to repeat, when people have stolen, they will be arrested. And we shall arrest them unapologetically. If you can't explain where the money went when Dr. Jagera was being sworn in, yes, Malawians are going to arrest you. I was talking about your side because your side is full of thieves, is full of killers, is full of people who don't know what they are doing. And I can give you proof for the money that went missing.
Honorable Minister, yes, can you have order, please? Honorable Member, Honorable Members and Honorable Minister. Yes, Honorable Minister of Higher Education. I just wanted to confirm you use the word that they are thieves and killers. Yes, well, is that parliamentary, especially the, yes, sorry? No. Honorable Members, I'm talking to the Honorable Ministers. Please resume your seat. I'm talking to the Honorable Minister. Yes, but I'm talking to the Minister on the same matter. Yes, Honorable Minister of Higher Education. No. Honorable Member, before I've given you the floor, before anybody has raised this issue, I've heard what she has said, so I'm asking to clarify if whether indeed she used the word thieves, because that is not parliamentary. So that's what I wanted to confirm with her.
Okay, let me start by the word killers. During DPP, people with albinism were killed. They can refuse if they want. So, during that time, they were doing it. If they are saying I'm lying, let's go to the records. Since we got into power, those with albinism are very alive. So, if they want me to apologize for giving it a wrong name, let me say there are people whom during their time, people were being killed. So they are an administration that kills albinos. That's who they are. Let's talk about thieves. These people, during their time, money went missing, and they've not explained to Malawians. The roads they put are not working, and they're coming here to say they'll tell us what to do. No, we are Malawians. We are not going to be lied to. During their administration, people were being killed, people were dying. So you tell me who they are.
Honorable Minister of Higher Education, can I have order, Honorable Members? Can I have order, Honorable Members? The Honorable Minister of Education, we always, when we're having debates, if that type of allegation is made, obviously the next question is for us to demand for evidence. If you want to put specific, so what I can demand from you with what you have said is bring us the evidence in my office to substantiate what you are alleging on the other side. Thank you. So, by tomorrow Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, bring them. Thank you. Yes. Honorable member, you want to respond on the same matter again? Blantyre City Southwest, I've already ruled. I don't think we should go back on the same matter. Thank you. Honorable member for Che, why are you rising? But I've already done two more points of orders on the same matter. Sorry? One more point of order. Is it on the same matter? No, I'm asking, is it on the same matter or on a different matter? Sorry? If it's on the different matter, I'll give you, but if it's on the same matter, I'll cut you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving the people of Nchew West a chance to stand on a point of order. I just wanted to request you, Madam, that you should at least advise this minister to desist degenerating this house. You know, they must be the last persons to be bringing issues of killing each other right here. Otherwise, some of us were still in pain because of Chilangao. So that's not fair.
Honorable members, can I have order? Honorable members, can I have order? Honorable members, can we please stop? Let us contribute. Let us stop bringing emotive issues on the house, please. Please, honorable members, please. Honorable member for Nzimba North, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon.
Order, so you can listen to Nzimba North in silence, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me just allude to one or two things before I proceed to the main substantive matter. The Minister of Transport and Public Works pledged that he's going to do Njagwa, Ezondweni, Kafukule, Eswazini Road. I'm not seeing it in the budget. Madam Speaker.
Closer to your mic, I can't get you clearly. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I am saying that I cannot see Njagwa, Eswazini, Ezondweni, Kafukule Road, which was committed and funds were committed and funds were available and the Badea government provided the funds. Up to now, I cannot see those funds in the budget. Second thing, Madam Speaker, the budget statement in the economic outlook, it does not address the serious matters which are confronting the country now. And indeed, the global economy. Madam Speaker, we have USAID, which has withdrawn from the economy of Malawi. European Union have reduced the funding to Malawi. And indeed, the British government too have reduced the funding to Malawi. Madam Speaker, these are substantial reductions to the national support of the economy. And Madam Speaker, if these reductions are true, this budget is not a realistic budget. Going to page number 7, Madam Speaker, the Minister has alluded to the fact that he is hoping that he is projecting a budget of 8 trillion. At the same time, Madam Speaker, he is projecting a growth of 7%. Madam Speaker, I don't want to use the word he's lying, but when somebody is hoping, is not giving any confidence to the economy. Madam Speaker, it worries me when the actual Minister of Finance can project 7%. When last year he projected 3.2%, he never achieved it, and even 1.9% he struggled to achieve it. Madam Speaker, in the effective and efficient implementation of budget expenditure control, Trump has delivered expenditure control measures across the country. Why can't Malawi learn to deliver an efficient control mechanism? Pushing into the budget an integrated national financing INFF. Madam Speaker, an integrated national financing expenditure framework is not a government of Malawi Congress Party. Madam Speaker, this is a budget review which was done by South Chilima. And you never implemented it. Now you are still as if you are cosmetically addressing that as you know what you want to do. Madam Speaker, you never did public forms. The pub reforms that were initiated by South Chilima report were nowhere driven or accepted by the government. But today you are saying you want to implement that. That is a lie. Madam Speaker, let me go and address the other issue. Article 4 of the IMF mandates this country to do some measures and others not to be done. When you see a government chasing forex in the streets, when you see government in the Ministry of Local Government allocating forex to vendors, when you look at administrative interventions into the forex management and monetary policy, Madam Speaker, Article 4 of the IMF, I don't know what you are going to answer when you are going to go for reviews. No wonder the Minister of Finance in the review at Washington, he was nowhere to be seen. He ran away from the review mission in November. He was absent. Only people from the Reserve Bank were present. Equally, when the International Monetary Finance came here to see the banks, the commercial banks in Blantyre, the Minister of Finance also did not, he abandoned, he gave an excuse. When it was very important to address the forex issue. Madam Speaker, we do not address monetary policy in the Ministry of Local Government. Equally in the Ministry of Finance, they are addressed at the Ministry at the Reserve Bank. That was wrong, and that is wrong. Let me also address the issue which is related to World Bank. Madam Speaker, you can't have thugs closing companies, ministers of labor, ministers of trade and industry, going out in the streets because of very small welfare issues. Madam Speaker, it gives the confidence of doing business in the wrong direction. And it gives the confidence of Malawi in a wrong direction. Any country like Malawi, which is not rated on the international market, it is based on the kind of doing business. And World Bank assesses that. And if you are threatening the long-term investment into this country, Madam Speaker, the economy of this country will not improve. You are threatening the short-term under IMF. You are equally threatening the long-term cost of doing business in Malawi. And you see, foreign direct investment will also not come. The little foreign direct investment that is in Malawi, Madam Speaker, is also being threatened by somebody who's just going to there to close toilets, to close companies because of very meager issues. Madam Speaker, I am worried because we have the opportunities of having Kairekera reopening. That is foreign direct investment. We have a very major investment in Kasia, Rutile. For them to raise money internationally, they must see the cost of doing business and the Minister of Trade operating on international standards. Madam Speaker, I'm worried. The cabinet which is there has no capacity, no knowledge of what they're doing. I'm very worried, especially with the Minister of Trade and Industry. Having said that, Madam Speaker, let me also address the issue of GDP. When the Minister of Finance is talking about GDP, and any cabinet minister or government, they are talking about growth of the industry of GDP by 7%. And they are emphasizing on tourism, agriculture, mining or manufacturing. Let me address the issue of tourism, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in Malawi, where is that tourism going to go? Even when Bushire, who is bringing tourism, is being threatened to go back to South Africa. How are you going to address the issue of tourism? The issue of tourism does not constitute the GDP of Malawi. The last time GDP of Malawi was constituted was in 2017. And you cannot attribute a GDP growth to tourism, which is not in your GDP. Madam Speaker, when are they going to produce a GDP assessment? This government has never had a GDP assessment. They don't even know what GDP is. They don't know where that GDP is coming from. They don't know even where the source of that GDP is coming from. Having said that, Madam Speaker, let me also go to the gross national income. Madam Speaker, the gross national income of any country is factored into people working in Malawi and people working outside. The gross investment in this country, most investments are from South Africa, from other countries. We have even in NICO, even in which other insurance company, or even Standard Bank. The amount of money and the dividends that is going out of Malawi is much heavier than the revenue which is coming into this country. Now, if you look at the inflation projection, the inflation projection minus the GNI, you will find that the local economy...
Honourable Minister, if you want a point of order, please indicate, because as it indicating here, I can't tell whether you want to contribute or you want a point of order. Yes, next time ask our clerks to show you how we want you to be doing it. You want a point of order. You have the floor, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker.
Honourable Member from Zimba North, there's a point of order from the Minister of Tourism.
Very much, Madam Speaker. Is it in order, Madam Speaker, that the member who's just assumed his seat, resumed his seat, should insinuate that this country or this government doesn't even know or doesn't have a GDP or doesn't know the GDP. I'm standing on the point of order, Madam Speaker, because specifically that he had mentioned the Ministry of the tourism sector, a sector that I am presiding over. Madam Speaker, for the past 7, if it's not 8 years, the National Statistics Office has been saying that the contribution of tourism to the GDP has been at 6.7%. As a matter of fact, we in the sector have been disputing that. And Madam Speaker, that 6.7% was not declared by the Jaguera government. It was declared by the DPP government. And now, is it in order that the Speaker should insinuate that maybe that was a lie? Maybe he should tell us if that was a lie, that tourism was contributing to 6.7%, because as far as we are concerned, I think we should be contributing more than 6.7%. So he should tell us if that is not true, and what is now the contribution of to the GDP from tourism sector, because we do believe that tourism, Madam Speaker, is contributing to the GDP of this country. I so thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Honorable Minister of Tourism. Honorable Member from Zimba North, there's that clarification from the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll never labor myself with ignorance. You only manage to respond to ignorance when somebody is responding to the facts. I have stated that GDP is classified for a period of time. The period when GDP was done and was assessed, it was under the DPP government in 2017. Even in that classification, the GDP did not include tourism. And now to reflect on a GDP which has that tourism, I'm laboring myself to explain it. It is up to the minister to bring the evidence in this country that there is GDP, which she knows. Otherwise, this country has no GDP, no GDP calculation, no GDP calculation. Having said that, Madam Speaker, let me also labor myself to explain a little bit. We are going into the tobacco season. Most of the farmers, Madam Speaker, are suffering. When we are doing the exchange rate at tobacco sales, the selling point of the tobacco is in dollars, but the exchange rate which the tobacco farmers are exchanging their money, it is way, way below the spread of the foreign exchange. And even lower, it seems like we are duping the farmers for the labor which they have gone into. Having said that, Madam Speaker, let me also just go straight to the point of inflation. Madam Speaker, the inflation currently is hovering around, I think, 24% in 2025. Madam Speaker, if you look at this inflation package, do we really have an inflation? Where is the source of this inflation? You will find that the source of this inflation, Madam Speaker, is coming from fiscal expansion policies, where the government keeps on expanding, at the same time monetary pressures. The monetary pressures where even you are selling even forex to Kaunjika people. You are giving, forex you are giving to Kaunjika people. Both foreign fiscal policy and monetary policy, when they are expanding, the inflation is way, way above. So this inflation figure which is here, I think it is just a made-up inflation. It's not a realistic inflation to the economy. No wonder, Madam Speaker, when we come in, when I was chatting with Professor Arthur Peter Mtaliga in the next government, which we are going to struggle to bring the economy together, it will be very difficult to put a securitization model so that securitization model can finance and bring the economy to stabilization. That stabilization policy, Madam, it will not be just as easy. When they are talking about fiscal stabilization, you cannot do that when you are actually printing money. We call it seigniorage. Printing money without the permit of IMF, printing money without productivity, that is what is killing money. And this government is printing money without a productive capacity. That is worse theft than any other form of theft the economy can produce. You can't just print banks of money in 5,000 kwacha without the consent of the Reserve Bank governor, without the consent of IMF. And even when we're under supervision, that is very, very dangerous, man. And they've printed more than 3-4 times. Even we have a date of printing money in South Africa, which is very, very dangerous, Madam Speaker. I am not aware, Madam Speaker, whether they have a fiscal space of how they are going to address foreign exchange. Madam Speaker, foreign exchange and the price stabilization.
Member, consider winding up.
There was a point of order which disturbed you,
Yes,
Madam.
but remember you had already about 7+ minutes, and now you have 3 minutes 21 seconds. So, yes.
Madam Speaker, foreign exchange availability and foreign exchange management and managing demand should be coupled with supply side policies of foreign exchange supply. Madam Speaker, I am wondering whether this government has any measures to address this forex availability. I am saying this, Madam Speaker, even if you incentivize productivity related to exports, if you don't have an integrated framework of how you are going to do it, it's very difficult to do it. Given an example for the northern region, the whole northern region has only one production economy, which is Chibuku. All the other sectors are not productive. One industry, the whole northern region, and yet we have a minister of industry and trade, only one industry, Chibuku. All industries have collapsed. Come to Lilongwe. All PTCs have collapsed. All ADMAC depots have collapsed. Madam Speaker, how are you going to address the rural economy to inject the forex into the economy? It's very dangerous. No wonder shops now are getting vacuum. All the goods and services are not available. Finally, Madam Speaker, let me talk about debt sustainability. Madam Speaker, the level of debt in Malawi, which the minister has attributed to about 16 trillion, 8 trillion being local debt. Madam Speaker, that's not a correct information. We have quite a lot of arrears even at Parliament to pay those people who are giving us services. We have a lot of arrears in hospitals. We have a lot of arrears in road funds where contractors are not yet being paid. Even the toll gates that we collect between Blantyre and Didong, there are so many potholes, contractors are not doing the job. Where is that money? Madam Speaker, this gives me an evidence that we're addressing the skeleton. The real problem is under which they want. I would love
remarks, Honorable.
One thing up, Madam Speaker, I have two issues to address. There are certain issues that have happened. I understand, Madam Speaker, with no commitment to it. We have started operating and transacting again with SATA. And SATA has relocated to South Africa in Santon. Is it true that we are buying again vehicles from SATA, and which are 78 vehicles which are coming to Malawi? If that is the case, that is worrying. The companies have just changed name, but they are the same companies of SATA, and because the building is in South Africa, I can show you the building and where you are transacting. Specifically for Malawi, it is very, very dangerous to this economy. Finally, Madam Speaker, let's avoid moving with money.
Remember, we've almost done 13 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me thank you for giving the people of Zimba North an opportunity to address this parliament. But very finally, Madam Speaker, let's avoid moving large sums of money in South Africa. South Africa is very dangerous, even if you are a minister. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Minister of Finance, I've seen.
Madam. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, by tradition, the minister responsible for finance and economic affairs comes at the very end to respond to some issues and probably put things into perspective. And I was supposed to come when the debate comes to an end. But there are times, Madam Speaker, that a minister stands up, as I have done, just to provide prompt responses on issues that I think have been misrepresented. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to indicate that this government, but also this cabinet, is quite aware of what GDP is. And I would like also to make mention, Madam Speaker, that when I was presenting a budget statement in this very house, I quoted quite a number of factors, including the GDP. And I have quite a detailed response to him, which I wanted to give to this house, that I respect him very much. He's a seasoned quantity surveyor. But when it comes to issues of economics, I would really wish that we debate off the house, because this is a house of record, and whatever we say is recorded. Madam Speaker, Malawi's GDP in 2024 was 10.84 billion US dollars in nominal terms and 40.74 billion in purchasing power parity terms. This is on record, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the GDP is the total value of goods produced and services provided in a country like ours during a one-year tenure or term. Madam Speaker, I would like to make mention that much as we appreciate the contributions from honorable members, our expectation is that when members stand up, they contribute to issues that we take note that would also help to redesign, reshape, and perfect our budget. We cannot just center much on criticism, Madam Speaker, without providing solutions. I wanted to conclude, Madam Speaker, by saying we have an integrated framework. He has mentioned something to do with, Madam Speaker, issues to do with production, issues to do with foreign direct investment, but also issues to do with the forex. I would like, Madam, through you, to remind the House that in the first MCP government, we laid a foundation of development in this country by coming up with quite a number of industries and companies. History is there, Madam Speaker, to judge us that it is not Malawi Congress Party government that closed the shops. 26 years of other regimes closed down all the shops. It is us now that we are coming in to revamp, rejuvenize, and bring back industry. I think that's the reason, Madam Speaker, that today we are talking about Malawi Development Corporation Holdings Limited coming back. It is now, Madam, that we are also thinking of coming up with a very robust mining industry sector in this country. Madam Speaker, it is therefore naive if somebody stands up in this House and mislead the House. Finally, Madam Speaker, issues to do with debt sustainability. The Malawi Congress Party government doesn't believe in fictitious reporting. What we reported is exactly what is on the ground. So when you are saying that the debt we announced here is not reflecting the actual debt, then he has to give us what is the debt of Malawi now, because what we say is what is on record, and we believe that what we provided in this country is a true reflection of both domestic and external debt. For your information, Madam Speaker, as I sit down, we are doing debt negotiations, and our debtors are responding positively, and very soon, Malawi gonna recover, and recover to the dismay of many people who are doubting that Malawi's economy will discover. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Finance. Honorable Member for Nchisi South, I've seen Honorable Leader. Honorable Leader, proceed.
Honorable, I would like to withdraw because the Minister of Finance has done more than justice to what I wanted to address. Thank you.
Nchisi South, then Lower West, and Dedza Central.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me thank you this afternoon for giving Nchisi South a chance to make a contribution, or rather debate, on the budget, which was ably presented in here by my brother, Minister of Finance. But before I actually make some comments about the budget, let me actually say this as my preamble. Madam Speaker, in the book of Genesis, when Moses was strongly, in the book of Genesis, when Moses was directed, or rather ordered by God to deliver the Israelites from the bondage of the Egyptians, Moses actually told God to say, I cannot manage that task. And one of the main reasons that Moses gave God the Almighty was that I am not fluent in speaking. I do stammer. But Moses did not know that to God, that was one of the strengths of Moses in order to deliver the Israelites from Egypt to Canaan. What am I trying to say, Madam Speaker? God actually appoints leaders to lead during a particular time because himself, God, knows that this particular time can be best led by this leader. The example is this country, if it was being led by a president who was noisy and talkative, we could have all perished. If this country, during this very difficult period of time, was led by some presidents who actually said, or go and eat grasshoppers and so on and so forth, definitely Malawi nation could have been eaten up alive. But God actually chose Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera to lead us during these very difficult times because God knows that Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera only speaks when it is necessary to speak. Madam Speaker, we have a great leader in Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. He has steered this ship through very, very, very difficult times. Everyone in here knows what Malawi as a country have gone through over the past 4 years. Madam Speaker, having said that in my preamble.
For Nchisi South, there's a point of order from Zomba Marosa.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving people of Zomba Marosa a point of order on the honorable member that has just resumed his seat. In his contribution, he's saying, talking about a leader who said, let me eat grasshoppers. But now, Madam Speaker, what is not in order for me is people in Eastern region, they are eating chitedze. Not just a leader telling them to go and eat grasshopper, but they are eating chitedze. The chitedze, you know, that one that scratches. So is it really in order that this honorable member should be differentiating these two leaders? At least the other one just talked, but this one, his own leader is letting Malawians eat chitedze. Is it in order, Madam Speaker? Thank you.
Thank you, Zomba Central. I think that's what maybe if you wish, put it in your own contribution, because he's putting it as his own contribution. But you can put as your contribution. But for me to rule whether he's right or wrong might not be right.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Actually, it's a waste of time for me to respond to her remarks. I have a lot of business to do right here. Madam Speaker, coming to the substantive debate on the about the budget, let me start by actually saying something about the agriculture sector. Madam Speaker, I'm very, very happy to see in the statement by the Minister of Finance that in this sector there is an amount which will actually be used on irrigation. And I'm happy that this time the amount allocated to irrigation is very, very reasonable. As a country, this is the route we have to take. We have to actually stop solely depending on rain-fed agriculture, because as we are talking now, with the climate change issues, we are finding it difficult, very, very difficult to actually harvest enough for this nation by actually depending on rain-fed agriculture. This is why I would like to thank the minister for actually having put a very big chunk on the irrigation side. Madam Speaker, this will actually help us as a country to start feeding ourselves. Because, Madam Speaker, you cannot talk about any development if you are not feeding yourself as a country. Food security is the basis of all development in any country. I usually mention China, which actually started by feeding themselves. Then, after that, they went industrialization. Malawi should take the same route. Madam Speaker, on the same irrigation, I'm so happy to actually mention that the Shire Valley Transformation Project, which our committee visited, is actually going on very well. Why have I made it a point for me to mention it this time around? There was a public rally in the lower Shire where a certain party gathered and they were saying Shire Valley Transformation Project is no longer moving forward, the donors have withdrawn. That's not true. We went there, World Bank is full throttle, continuing to actually fund this project. And for your information, Madam Speaker, phase 1 of Shire Valley Transformation Project is at 98%. And that by June, people in the lower Shire who are within the first 6 kilometers of the valley will start using the water from this project to grow food. Cooperatives there are ready. So whoever actually told this nation to say donors on this project are withdrawing was not saying the truth. And I do believe that from this statement, Malawians have known the truth, because I'm not only talking about it from hearing from somebody, but it is from a very, very informed position where we made officials from this project. Madam Speaker, I would also want to actually thank the minister on the issue of mega farms. This is a very good initiative, and I would actually like to request my brother in the Ministry of Agriculture to just continue putting in measures so that this should be polished up, but it is the way to go for Malawi if we are to actually feed ourselves. Madam Speaker, on the same agriculture, we have seen NIF disbursing inputs to our farmers, and I would like to actually request the Minister of Finance that this is a very good program, but the distribution should be started, should start very early as we are going into another season, because it has shown that this time around fertilizers were a bit late, but it has helped our people, and we want as many people as we can to actually benefit from this program. Winding up on the agriculture sector, Madam Speaker, I would want to talk about livestock production. Livestock production is very important in the sector of agriculture. Why? Because it actually fills the gap where we have maybe hunger issues because of dry spells. The production of animals actually fills the gap. A household which has got goats and then it has got no maize, or it has got no food in terms of maize and rice, they can easily sell a goat and cover up the gap. So this is why I'm also happy that the Minister of Finance thought it wise to include at least a very reasonable amount of money to go towards the improvement of livestock production. Madam Speaker, I would like to actually request that we have a lot of research stations, some which were actually handling issues to do with livestock production, like the one which is in Mzuzu. Currently, it is not functional. Why? Because funding has not been going there in a manner that everybody would want it to be. So, my brother, Minister of Finance, please, as you've already done, good job on the livestock production. Think about revitalizing, fund these livestock research centers so that we should improve on livestock production. Madam Speaker, let me now comment on transport and public infrastructure. Madam Speaker, I actually stay in Ponera and I do drive to this house every day. I am happy to actually report that constructions that were maybe slowed down because of the rain have restarted. And very soon, driving from Lilongwe to Mponela and Kasungu will be taking very, very little time. We thank government for that. We thank the finance minister for that because this project is very important to Malawi as a whole. Madam Speaker, people can say what they say, but if you drive around Lilongwe, one will appreciate. If you drive in Blantyre, one will appreciate in Zuzu that indeed roads are being done. Roads are being rehabilitated, roads are being reconstructed, and the roads that I'm talking about are strong roads, not like the Shibasula one or the one which was constructed from Saint going towards Area 50 by the previous government. That was actually fooling the people. And this actually should not happen again. This should stop. And I know MCV government has come to stop that. It is very, very pathetic to drive along the roads which actually were constructed by the previous government. The road from Saint to Area 50, the road from Chidzanja going towards Chipasula. I mean, when you are doing things, sometimes you have to think to say, yes, we are stealing, but what if we are caught? What are we going to tell Malawians? This is very bad. This is pure stealing the taxpayers' money from Malawians. I actually am happy that the roads that are being constructed right now are very strong. Madam Speaker, on the transport and public infrastructure still, I will actually not have done my job if I don't mention about Nchisi, Malomo, Nchisi, Zareka Road. Madam Speaker, let me thank this government that the contractor has been identified. And before making this speech, Madam Speaker, I was in touch with the consultant. And the consultant has assured me that I should tell the nation and people of Nchisi that the contractor will be on site on 1st April to start construction of this road from Umalomo passing through Nchisi to Zarega. We say thank you, the Chakwera-led government. Madam Speaker,
consider winding up.
This is the road which is at the heart of people of Nchisi, the people of Malomo, the people of Mwangala. This road is at their hearts, and people of Nchisi will be very happy to hear what I have spoken here today about this road. And the contractor has also been told that apart from mobilizing, he should also do maintenance in some parts which have been damaged because of the rain. Thank you very much, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, let me thank the Minister of Finance for bringing in a budget which is comprehensive and people-centered. This is why you will find out that some quarters are not happy with this budget. And they will try to punch in holes just to actually lose to make our finance minister lose direction. But he will not. For he is set to deliver on this budget. Chakwera is set to deliver on this budget.
Member,
ukagenda ukamvakalira walira ndiye kuti ameneyo kamukhudza mkazi chifukwa kaulira ndi budget iyi. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Nchisi South. Chitipa East, what has gone out of order?
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. I was just wondering if something better can be done on the acoustic. It's literally noise. It's destroying the ears. Thank you.
I think our technicians should take note that it's gone much louder, it's got a bit of echo. So they need to be working on that. So, honorable members, it is it is 19 minutes to 4. I'll now suspend proceedings for health break. Immediately we come back, there was honorable member for Lower West, there's a Central, who I had already recognized. And before I do that, we have visitors in the visitors gallery. These are members of St. Joseph Choir coming from Roman Catholic Church, Maria Mtandizi in Intandire. And they are visitors for Honorable Commissioner George Zulu, Lilongwe City West. Akwaya mwachoka ku Mtandire, imirirani tukulandireni, takulandirani. Takulandirani kunyumba eno ya Malamulo ziko mukwambiri. Honorable members, I now suspend proceedings for health break. We shall resume sitting at 4:15. House suspended.